At a friend's party, my rich girlfriend humiliated me in front of everyone. She told me to hand back her car keys, and even the t-shirt I was wearing. Laughter shook the room as I stripped off my pride under their eyes. So, I did. I returned everything. It was loud. It was brutal. My name is Adrian Cole and I live in Washington. Before that night, people said Sophia Kingsley and I were the perfect couple. She came from money. Her father owned hotels, her mother designed jewelry. She was bold, confident, the kind of woman who had never been told no. I wasn't from her world. I lived above my dad's mechanic shop, studying business, working part-time, saving whatever I could. She once said she liked my quiet confidence. Maybe I just liked the way she lit up every room. I gave her everything, my time, my heart. Looking back, I'm not sure she ever gave me the same. We were opposites. She spent, I saved. She loved crowds, I loved quiet. For a while, it worked. I drove her convertible, met her rich friends, pretended I belonged. She came to my small apartment, once smiled politely and never brought it up again. The cracks showed in small ways. The wrong shirt for the wrong dinner, my silences when she wanted me to perform for her friends. I told myself it was worth it, until the night of her friend's birthday party. Music pounded through the villa, laughter spilling everywhere. I was the quiet note in a noisy room, until Sophia turned the spotlight on me. She stood on the marble steps, surrounded by her friends, drink in one hand, phone in the other. Her eyes locked on me. "Give me my car keys," she said. The group froze mid-laugh. A dozen eyes turned. My chest tightened. I whispered, "We can talk later. Don't make a scene." But Sophia wanted a scene. "Oh? You already made one." Sophia's smile had no warmth. "My car keys." The keys jingled in my pocket, a small sound that suddenly felt heavy. I pulled them out and placed them in her open hand. They looked small against her polished nails. "And the watch," she added. "It's mine." It was a gift she had given me on my birthday. Slim, silver, the kind that whispered time instead of ticking it. I unclasped it from my wrist. The metal felt colder than the air in the room. Then she tilted her head, her voice rising like she was putting on a show. "Actually, the t-shirt too. You said it looks good because I bought it. So it's basically mine, right?" She laughed. Her friends joined in, echoing her like a choir. For a second, I thought she might stop. But the silence stretched, and I realized this wasn't a fight. It was theater. She wasn't talking to me. She was performing for them. And I was the scene. I gripped the hem of my shirt and pulled it over my head. A soft gasp rippled through the room, shock mixed with delight. I stood there, bare-chested under the chandelier, neon light from the pool outside flashing against me, like the world itself was laughing at my humiliation. Someone whispered, "No way he's actually doing it." I handed her the shirt. She pinched it with 2 fingers like it was nothing, letting it dangle from her hand as if it were a trophy. "Happy now?" I asked. My voice was steady, because if I let it shake, I'd never stop shaking. Her smile sharpened. "Next time, don't embarrass me at my friend's party over something small." Something small. That's what she called it. Just a misheard comment, a joke I didn't laugh at quickly enough, a face that didn't match her punchline. But in rooms like this, small things grow teeth. I looked around. Champagne glasses, glass walls, an infinity pool spilling into the night. The house smelled of new money and old insecurity. People I barely knew were suddenly judging me like experts on my worth. "Can I keep my dignity?" I said softly. "Or is that on loan too?" Her friends laughed again. She didn't. She just blinked at me like someone blinking into bright light, annoyed I was still standing there. The exit door was 6 steps away. I counted them slowly like a soldier counts breaths. 1, someone snickered. 2, someone filmed. 3, I caught my reflection in the glass. Bare shoulders, clenched jaw, a man memorizing his lowest moment. 4, the night pressed cold against my back. 5, the music swallowed my name. 6, I was outside. Heat rose from the stone driveway. I stood there, chest bare, breeze cutting into my skin. Her car sat like a smug animal, quiet and polished. I could have begged. I could have yelled. But instead, I learned the weight of silence. I walked. Streetlights lined the road like second chances. By the time I reached the main road, the party's base was only a rumor. I ducked into a 24/7 store and bought the cheapest plain tea. The cashier glanced at me, no judgment. Just human. Outside, I pulled the shirt over my head. It smelled of cardboard and cheap cotton, but it was mine. My phone buzzed, messages exploding. You okay? She really did that? Don't go back, man. I typed nothing. Words couldn't cover the wound yet. A stray dog trotted up, sat one step away, and stayed. We stared at the empty road together. At 2 a.m., asphalt doesn't lie. I thought about all the nights I'd tried to be acceptable. Shoes clean, voice measured, opinions trimmed. And right there I made one decision. I would never again ask a room to confirm I belonged. My phone buzzed again, her name on the screen. I let it ring out. Then I opened my notes app and wrote a single line. Remember how this felt. A rideshare picked me up. The driver looked in the mirror. Long night? Longest, I said. He nodded. No questions. As the city slid past, I realized something. Humiliation is cheap fuel. It burns hot, fast, and dirty. It can launch you, but it can also burn you out. If I was going to climb back, I needed something stronger. Not rage, foundation. When we reached my building, he said, "You'll be all right." This time, I believed it. Upstairs, steam fogged the bathroom mirror as I stood under the shower. Water stung, then softened. When I stepped out, the apartment was the same. Chipped mug, laundry pile, half-dead plant. But I wasn't the same. Not anymore. That night, I lay on the couch and set an alarm for 6 a.m. Not because I had plans, but because I needed to start. When it rang, I made bitter coffee, opened my laptop, and typed a title. Project, 1 year. She took my keys, my watch, my shirt, and my pride. Now I was going to take back everything. My account had less than 5,000. Enough to live, not enough to dream. So I worked. Freelance jobs, tutoring, product shoots, anything that paid. A friend pushed me toward auditions, small commercials, student films. I learned the camera, learned how to hold a frame, how to look unshaken even when I was starving inside. That night I made my choice. I wouldn't just survive. I wouldn't just earn enough to get by. I would become someone people recognized, a face they couldn't forget. A story so loud it drowned out every laugh from that party. And when Sophia saw me again, it wouldn't be on the street. It would be on a screen, a stage, or a magazine cover. She wouldn't be able to look away. The first months were a blur. I had nothing but a tiny apartment, a broken laptop, and anger that wouldn't let me sleep. I replayed that party again, and again, her smile, their laughter, the calm in my voice when I should have shouted. I promised myself one thing. They wouldn't remember me for how I left that night. They'd remember me for what I became after. So I started showing up. Commercials, student films, background roles, anything. Most times, I was rejected. Sometimes they stopped me halfway through my lines, but I kept going. Then came a small clothing ad. Nothing fancy, just me walking down a street in their jacket. But when it aired, people messaged me, "Hey, saw you on TV." It was small, but it proved something. I could be seen. From there, I picked up modeling jobs for small designers. I learned how to pose, how to own the frame, how to show emotion without a word. Every job, no matter how small, I treated like my big break. 6 months later, I got a call for a supporting role in a web drama. Only 3 scenes. But I told myself those 3 scenes would matter. I studied every move, every glance, every word. When the episode came out, comments online said, "Who's that guy?" And he should have more screen time. That spark was all I needed. I doubled down. Acting classes, voice control, body language. Hours of studying actors who made scenes feel alive. I wasn't just working anymore. I was building myself into someone new. By the 10th month, I walked into an audition for a crime thriller. The lead role was a man fighting his way up from nothing. It felt like my story. I read the script once and knew exactly how I would play it. When the casting director asked me to improvise, I stepped forward, looked him in the eye, and said, "You think you can bury me?" I've been buried my whole life. I just learned to breathe under dirt. The room went silent. Then he smiled. 2 days later, I got the call. The lead role was mine. When the drama aired, it was an instant hit. My face was everywhere. Billboards, online ads, TV interviews. People stopped me on the street, shouting my name, asking for selfies. For the first time, I wasn't invisible, but I knew fame fades fast. I didn't want just a famous face. I wanted power that would last. I used my earnings wisely on first an online clothing store, then a cafe in the busiest part of the city. Both grew quickly, boosted by my name and the audience I had earned through acting. Within a single year, I wasn't just an actor. I was a brand. Endorsements, meetings, new projects, I filled my calendar. The boy who had once handed back car keys, a watch, and a shirt in shame was gone. In his place stood a man the whole city knew, and I knew it was only a matter of time before Sophia saw me again. It happened on a night I didn't plan. I was invited to a high-profile charity gala at one of the city's luxury hotels, the kind of place where her family's name was etched into the walls. But this time was different. Name was on the guest list, not as +1, not as a tag-along. I was there as Adrian Cole, actor, entrepreneur, a man people came to see. The lobby glittered with chandeliers that spilled light across marble floors polished like mirrors. Red carpets rolled out like veins carrying the lifeblood of wealth and influence. "Adrian, over here," photographers called. Flashes erupted, each burst a reminder of how far I had climbed from that night when I stood shirtless in shame. Inside, perfume and money mixed in the air. The crowd was sharp suits and gowns, laughter layered with ambition. I shook hands with directors, laughed with investors, exchanged cards with business leaders. My presence wasn't just accepted, it was expected. And then, through the crowd, I saw her, Sophia. Emerald silk hugging her frame, hair falling in perfect waves, diamonds catching the chandelier light like shards of ice. She was laughing loudly in a circle of tuxedoed men, pretending she still owned every room she entered. But then her eyes found me, and her smile cracked. For a moment, the laugh froze in her throat. The wine glass in her hand trembled just enough that only she noticed. I didn't stop. I didn't flinch. I kept walking, smiling for cameras, shaking hands with producers, letting her watch me as I stood where she never thought I'd stand. Finally, she broke away and crossed the room toward me. Sophia. Adrian. Soft, almost breathless. Me. Sophia. Calm, steady. Sophia. You look different. Me. I am. Sophia. I've seen you everywhere. TV, magazines, billboards. You're incredible. Her voice trembled. I always knew you had potential. Me. Tilting my head. Faint smile. No, you didn't. Sophia. Eyes flicker, caught between pride and regret. You've done really well for yourself. Me. Yes, I have. She waited. I didn't ask about her life. I didn't hand her a lifeline. Instead, I turned to the producer beside me. "This is the director I told you about," I said smoothly. Talk of contracts and projects filled the air. Photographers swarmed us, cameras flashing. And Sophia? She stood just behind, ignored, fading, the way she once made me fade. Her fingers brushed my arm. Sophia. Adrian. Can we talk? Privately, please. Me, without turning. I don't think that's necessary. Sophia. Voice cracking. I regret what I did. That night. I was cruel. I didn't mean to lose you. Me, finally meeting her eyes, cold and steady. Regret's only useful if it changes something. Otherwise, it's just noise. Her lips parted, trembling. But I was already gone, laughing with another guest, shaking hands with a sponsor. my attention out of her reach. Photographers caught everything. The man at the center of the circle, the woman on the edges. Desperate to be seen again, she lingered the whole night, circling, watching, waiting, hoping for another glance. Another word. She got nothing. Every smile I gave someone else was a reminder that her chapter was over. As I left the gala, flashes exploding once more, I turned my head slightly, just enough to catch one final image of her. Alone at the bar, emerald dress catching the light, her glass untouched, her smile gone. 1 year ago, she stripped me bare under a chandelier. Tonight, in front of the whole city, I stripped her of power, with silence. Humiliation once broke me. Tonight, it belonged to her. I wasn't the man she mocked anymore. I was Adrian Cole, known, respected, untouchable. And for Sophia Kingsley, regret wasn't just a feeling. It was her forever. As I stepped into my car, cameras still flashing behind me, I whispered to myself, that night she took my shirt. Tonight, I took her crown. If this story hit you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories of betrayal, revenge, and redemption.